So maybe to start us off, do you think you could talk to us a little bit about what should our goals be and our
Yeah.
mindset as we approach the challenge of reopening schools?
I mean, look, the primary goals, of course, the safety and security and health security of our kids and our families and teachers and staff. But it's really hard to know when that moment is because we have to get back to school probably well before a vaccine, right? Everyone thinks, oh, a vaccine is going to solve the problem. There's going to be a long period of time between when a vaccine is found and when it's manufactured and distributed. And so we have to figure out ways in which we open up. So we're learning from other countries. The challenge for the United States is, of course, we're doing this while the pandemic is still going on. So if I were queen, and this is maybe where I do have changed my mind a little bit since the article, where maybe there's some places that can open up, and I do think that's true. But there's a lot of places that should not open up now, the South, the Southwest, because of a raging pandemic, because they just don't have it under control. But part of it is as a Homeland Security planner, and that was what the article was about, was here's a critical infrastructure, schools. We didn't conceive, like water and electricity and food supply. We didn't conceive of it as a critical infrastructure, but it turns out you can't function as a society if kids aren't in school. And so we focus on all these other things instead of how the heck do we open them. But the good news is that we're learning as we go along. So never think of things as binary, like yes, no. It's a pandemic. I mean, there's like everything's gray at this stage. But how I think about it is, and this will guide, I think, every answer, is to try to balance three important goals here. Okay, so the first, when you think about reopening school, so the first is that's based on the science. So I'm not a doctor, as you know. I'm a consumer of health intelligence. I see what's happening with the virus, and so I've changed. I used to think masks weren't necessary. Now I'm a mask freak and ask my kids. So the first is you want to minimize contact intensity. So that just basically means we know how the virus spreads. We know that it spreads in some conditions much faster than others. So let's be smart about it. So contact intensity, it's why are bars open? It's, why are we, like that seems, why are gyms open? They exist for contact intensity. So it may mean, so basically our answer to that is what we call, de-densifying, which is essentially you just want to make sure that people aren't on top of each other doing this. That's a de-dens, and so lots of teachers will have heard that we're going to de-densify the classroom. And it also means that we're not treating every piece of the educational experience the same. There will be curriculum, which you can maybe do depending on the facility. Sports, harder to, high school football, you tell me, it exists for contact intensity. The second is you want to manage the number of people that you're around. So that is, again, de-densification, but it's just basically why teachers and parents are hearing about skewed schedules. It's just a numbers game at this stage. That's all we know about the virus. It's not a smart virus. It's got one simple goal, which is I just want the next live host. And so if you're around, it's just number 5 is less than 50 is less than 500. So that's just the way to think about it. So that's why you're hearing about, these various scheduling changes. And it also may be why, it might be smart to bring K through 3 back first, let it go a month, see what happens, and then make a new decision for 4 through 8, because we know K through 3 is really key in terms of the educational experience. Okay, then finally, you maximize personal mitigation for teachers, for parents, and for kids, obviously. And that means masking, of course. It means hybrid schedules, if you can make that work, obviously, or hybrid teaching, if you can make that work, both digital and in person. It means, how we design the buildings, how we design the classrooms, just how the kids are going to eat, and so you minimize contact intensity, manage the number of people you're around, and maximize personal responsibility or personal mitigation. It's not easy. You have to be ready to pull the plug if you did it wrong. But there is a strategy behind it. And I want parents and teachers and kids to know that yes, there may be carelessness in some instances, but for the most part, that's what's guiding the decisions of yes, no, maybe, in between.